Hello, and thank you for subscribing to Jolly Luck IP Virtual Desktop. Once you've actually subscribed, you will receive from the activation team some written instructions on how to set it up. Even though this video will talk you through it, you should read these instructions because there's some useful tips on how to use the product, and there's information that you're going to need in here as well to actually set up your virtual desktop. Depending on whether you're a Mac user or a PC user, there's different downloads you have to do, because you have to download what we call the X2 client. Now that is a client that runs on your desktop, and it's what connects to your remote desktop to give you protection. So choose the format that you're on, whether it's Mac or PC. If you're PC, it's just a question of clicking on that link and downloading the X2 client. Other important information that you'll find within this document is what we call the host name. Now this is your IP address. This is the IP address that is being allocated to your remote desktop and is dedicated to you. So once you've downloaded the X2 client, what you're going to end up with is this icon. So double click on it and it will open up. As you can see here, I've already got multiple desktops available for myself. This is what we call the desktop manager. If you bought a single license, you're only going to end up with one desktop. If you're running a multiple license, you're obviously going to end up with multiple desktops running in your desktop manager. The first time you open this, you should get a new session box open. If it doesn't, or you're setting up multiple desktops, you can just go to the left hand side here, click on session and select new session. If that doesn't fit in your screen, you can just drag and drop it as you can any normal box. So we've got the session name here. You know, you might want to call it your first name, your last name, or whatever you want, but that's fine. I'm just going to call it test for this purposes. Now here's where we put the host key in, which is detailed in your instructions. So you enter the host key. Now please don't use this one that I'm actually putting in now, because you need to put in the one that's allocated to you. This is just a test one. So once you've entered that, you then go to the login box. Now this is the same regardless of how many licenses you've got. Leave the SSH port as 22 and come down to the session type, which you always select as XFCE. Go up to the media tab and unclick media side printing, client side printing, and then click OK. What you can see there is I've now got another desktop that has been set up in my desktop manager. To open it up, I just simply click on it and enter the password. Jolly Lock comes with a generic password, which is actually password, and that's detailed in your instructions as well. First time you open up a desktop, it's going to ask you, do you trust this host? Yes. And what you can see now here is we are connecting to the remote desktop server. Again, the first time you log on, you're going to be asked which configuration you want to use. Always choose the default configuration. This is because we have centrally set up the desktops with the right type of browser and other flash player, which works with the websites you will be visiting. As you can see here now, we're actually on the remote desktop. So you've got 4 key icons, and here is your Google Chrome. This is a browser that we have tried and tested with all of it, and we know that it works. I tend to unclick there and just click OK. Now again, the first time this will open, Google will ask you to sign in. Whether you've got a Google account or not, you can ignore it, or you can sign in. It really makes no difference. That's your choice. But what you can do here, as you see, There you go. We're now on the internet via the remote desktop, so you can go set up your bookie sites, you can tag them, you can run multiple windows just by clicking on the top here. So you can have William Hill's, Corals, or Bet365 open, whichever ones you want to look at. A couple of key things that you need to do straight away. One of them is change your password, because it is a generic password. So if you go down to Applications, top left, go to Settings, and go to User and Groups. Here's the password, and if you click on Change, again, this is all in your instructions. So as I say, read them, and you'll be able to follow them very easily. I won't do this here now, but you can just put in your current password, which will be password, and then put in the new password, confirm, and then you click OK. One other key thing here is when you're not using JollyLock IP Virtual Desktop, log out. It is a remote server. It's not like your desktop on your normal computer. So if you're not using it and it's just sitting there idle, it's using CPU, and it will potentially go into auto lockdown if it's just left running. There is a process of logging out which should always be followed, because if you don't follow this process, you will lock up your desktop, and it will need to be reset centrally. So once you've finished, simply go to Applications, Log Out, and then always choose the Log Out option. And as you can see there, we are now logging out. Now, if I wanted to, if you're running multiple desktops, you can then log into other desktops simply by clicking on the desktop manager and bringing it across. That's the end of this this video. I hope it's helpful. Please read the instructions, because there's a lot of information in there that you need to know, and enjoy using JollyLock. Thank you very much for your time.